Hello everybody, welcome to this short tutorial where I'll walk you through installing the required software we would need for developing applications using the C# programming language. Okay, we're only going to install one software, and that software is called Visual Studio. Okay, Visual Studio itself installs a whole bunch of stuff that is required, so we don't need to install all the dependencies separately. Okay, Visual Studio is an integrated development environment, an IDE as it's called. An IDE is basically an environment, a workspace where you write code and execute them basically. Okay, so that's what we are going to install right now, and that's what we'll be using throughout the whole training. Okay, so bear with me as I show you the steps you need. So just pull up a browser. It could be Chrome, it could be Firefox, any browser, and search for download Visual Studio. Okay, once you Google search download Visual Studio, it's gonna, the first option that comes up should be from Microsoft. So just click on the link. So you have it here. Visual Studio 2019 is the latest, and that's the one we are going to install. Okay, so the professional and the enterprise versions are paid versions, so you only have 1 month of trial, but the community version is free and is sufficient for all we are going to do, and basically that's what people use. Enterprise and professional edition is mostly for companies, right? So but the community edition is actually free for everybody to use. Okay, so once you click download, it's going to download the installer. So just click the installer here. It's quite small and the download is very fast, but the installer itself is a different application that helps you install Visual Studio. Yeah, run it. Okay, so click yes. So the installer is up, so I click continue. So it's going to download some files. Okay, if it's not the latest, it's going to download some files, then it's going to install the installer. Basically, it's going to first of all install the installer. Okay, and once the installer opens, we can start installing Visual Studio proper. Okay, so once the installer opens, you see this work on screen here. Okay, searching for updates. Okay, so I have it installed already. Okay, so it's asking me to update, which I'm not going to. Okay, that's not the purpose of this video. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this out. So for you, if you don't have it already, you are going to see install here, not launch. Okay, you're going to see install, and once you click install, you're going to see something like this. For me, I'll click modify. Okay, so once you click install, you're going to see this particular view. Okay, getting things ready. So this view is actually, as it's called here, the workloads, the individual stuff Visual Studio needs to install before it actually installs the main environment. Okay, so this is where you need to do some selection and where you actually need guidance fully. So for what we'll be doing in the course of this training, we are going to, of course, learn the language and start building desktop applications basically. So you need to select .NET desktop development. You need to check this box here. So later on, we're going to do some web development, a little bit of web development. So you want to check ASP.NET and web development here. So you want to check this one. And finally, towards the end of the tutorial, we're going to give a clear path on how you can start developing mobile applications. Okay, so you would also want to check this box here if you want to follow along that one. But the most important workloads you need here is ASP.NET and web development and the .NET desktop development. The other ones are optional for you if you want to actually pursue developing those other platforms using Visual Studio. And here might sound some bit of warning. These workloads are quite heavy. Okay, so I know when I installed all of these ones, I checked and I had about a total of, I think, 19 to 20 gigabytes 20 gigabytes of data to download. So depending on what you want and depending on what you want, basically you would want to minimize the number of stuff you want to check. So the recommended ones are the ASP.NET and web development and this desktop. That too is enough. So once you finish checking them, you click install. Okay, download while installing. Okay, so just click this and it's going to go ahead and download everything and install it. So I'm not going to do it because I have it already, so I'm going to close this. So after you've finished downloading, you have to be patient because it takes time. Imagine downloading up to like 10 gig, between 10 and 11 gig. You select those two, and installing them it will take time. So once you just click that install, you can probably go have lunch or do something else. So once it has finished, you now get this launch button here. Okay, so to ensure that everything installed properly, so you have to click launch. Okay, so when you click launch, you get the Visual Studio 2019 splash screen. All right, so it's going to open up like this for you. Then you want to create a new project, so you have to create a simple project to test that okay, everything installed properly. Okay, so once this opens, what we want to do is create is a console application. So you want to search console, and for now please select the .NET Framework 1. Later on we're going to understand the difference between .NET Framework and .NET Core and all of those. Okay, and you want to select C# here, not VB. You want C#. Okay, so you click next. I want to give your app a name, so let me call it let me just call it first app. Okay, so once you click first app, the location, so you can select a folder in your computer where you want that application where you want your application to be created. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it in my local repo. It's just a folder I created. So once that is done, just click create. Okay, so what create will do is to take the information you have given it and create a Visual Studio solution. That's what it's called. I will get to know more of these terms later. So it's going to create what is known as a solution, right? So this is actually your app here. So let me maximize this. So it's going to launch this screen here, the Visual Studio application. So this is now the Visual Studio application proper. Okay, so just to test that everything works properly, I'm going to write a very simple program and execute it. Okay, so I'm going to say console.writeLine. What this is going to do is print out any text you put within this quote on a black screen. That black screen is called a console actually. So we'll get to play with all of this later on. So I just want to say hello world, welcome to Trinity software development training. It's training, yeah, rhymes. Okay, so once you have this, we'll have to write a second line to ensure that the program doesn't because if you run it like this, it's going to print the screen and close it. back. So what we want to do now is to have it wait for us after it has finished running the program. Okay, again, we're going to discuss this in detail in class, so don't pay too much attention to this, but you want to do this on your own side to ensure that things are working properly. So once you save, you can now click start. So what the start button does is to first of all build your application. After it has finished building your application, it's going to launch it in debug mode. Okay, so here is the text we entered earlier. Hello world, welcome to Training Software Development Training, basically. So once you have this, that means you are ready. Okay, everything has been set up properly and you can start playing around what you see and start googling stuff and start trying stuff out. Once you have this, that means you're ready and we can get cracking. But for the meantime, if you try all the steps I've outlined and you have any issue, feel free to ask for assistance. Basically, if you have any issue, just you know where to put on the request, and we'll look at it and find a way to solve any peculiar problem that you might encounter trying to follow up with these processes. Again, the installation process will take time, so just give it the time it requires, and hopefully everything will be fine. If not, we'll fix it. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in class.